Thomas, also, I was going to ask you this evening, could you tell us a little bit about some of the factors in your experience that generally affect the value of land or land prices, particularly when it comes to development land? What are the major factors that you've come across that affect land price and land price growth?
Yeah, James, that's probably the most common question that I receive from people that walk into my sales office. And usually the way that I break it down is the following. In Costa Rica, you'll see an increase in value in land, usually what I would call, short-term indicators and long-term indicators. So let me explain. Short-term value in land generally arises from having a physical change to the property or a legal change in designation of the property. And so this change in value can literally happen overnight. So as an example directly relating to NatureWalk, if you were to purchase a piece of property in the community prior to infrastructure being installed, so basically at that stage an empty lot with teak trees, when infrastructure is in place, a physical value is added to the land because your lot now has road access, water, electricity services. It becomes more valuable than when you purchased it. A second example would be the zoning of the property. So if the property is zoned as an agricultural property and then is rezoned as a residential property or as a condominium property, the value is increased because now the land is zoned for an additional use. On the long term, value in real estate generally arises from a change in the surrounding area or the accessibility, as well as social perception, or if there's a commodity on the land. So these changes will typically take place over a longer period of time, and very often they may be tied to some form of a government social plan or an overall change in the social perception of the area. A good example of this relating to NatureWalk would be the fact that NatureWalk is currently on a secondary designated highway in Costa Rica. So as road improvements occur, and the Costa Rican government has plans to pave about 5 kilometers of this highway leading to NatureWalk, this will result in an increase in value. Now these things don't happen overnight. So furthermore, NatureWalk has teak on the property, and as you will explain, as time goes on, the teak grows. The teak is a commodity, has a value. As it grows, you get more out of it, and there's an increase in value. So another example, if there are other developments surrounding the area, such as an example relating to NatureWalk, there's the Pavona Ranch, which is neighboring NatureWalk. There ends up being a symbiotic relationship between the two developments, meaning, as they both progress and grow and are developed, they will increase one another's value. Now, one of the more interesting ones would be a social perception, and this is something that could probably have the biggest overall effect in land value. Typically, this could be driven by some sort of a media buzz. But basically, when people get wind of a great idea or a great location, they tend to flock to that area. And what that does, it provides a gradual but significant increase in demand, which in turn increases the overall value of the land. I know that the surrounding area of NatureWalk, which is close to a town called Jaco, is one of the most in-demand areas in all of Costa Rica. So overall, to sort of sum up, and I'll try and keep things short because I know you have a lot to talk about, but overall, Costa Rica is one of the most desirable locations in the world to invest in real estate, and because of these short-term and long-term indicators. The government in Costa Rica has allocated hundreds of millions of dollars to increase the area directly surrounding NatureWalk. So you're going to see new highways, improved or expanded airports, new fiber optic lines for high-speed internet, and these are all things that are happening or have happened already to the area surrounding NatureWalk. And this in turn makes the area more accessible to the general public. It makes them more aware of what's taking place in NatureWalk and in Costa Rica. And when people become aware, there's a drive to want to invest there, and this really increases the value of the land based on demand. And as you know, the title of this webinar is so so well titled. You know, there is only so much land in Costa Rica, and day by day there's less and less, and that's basically what it breaks down to.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that overview, Thomas.